How many past tenses does German have? Plusquamperfekt? Präteritum? Perfekt? What's that all about? And what should we focus on as a beginner language learner? I suggest we start with the perfect. And that's what we're going to look into today in this video. So hallo und willkommen zu German Efficiency. I suggest that we start with the perfect, which I also often call a long past tense, because that's what we are going to use in speaking and in writing. And surprisingly, the differences in the meaning in the past tense in German are not really that big, at least between Präteritum and perfect. Why not start with one that we can use in writing and speaking? Okay, so how does the perfect, the long past tense work? Basically, we use a very common verb in German, which is habe, which means to have, as you might already know, and we put it at the second place of the sentence. And then we take another verb of our sentence and add a GE in front of it. And then sometimes we'll have a little bit of a different conjugation for it. So what does that look like in practice? For example, the sentence Ich schreibe, which is I write. In past tense is Ich habe geschrieben. So as we can see, we have a habe in the second place, indicating the past, and we have a GE at the end, indicating the past. So then some verbs change a little bit of their conjugation. Generally speaking, we differentiate between an EN and a T at the end. So in schreiben, ich habe geschrieben gets an EN at the end and changes a little bit of the conjugation, which I currently don't worry too much about. Let's take a look for another example. Ich habe eingekauft. Many of you might know the word einkaufen, to go shopping. Ich habe eingekauft, which gets us a T at the end. And again we see the habe and the GE. For those that are already familiar with separable verbs, on the separable verbs, for example, aufschreiben, to write down, we separate the auf, and in the past tense, we kind of put the GE in between. To remember, that's because we put it on the verb, not on the presyllable. So for example, ich schreibe auf, which is separated, we put a GE in the past. Ich habe das aufgeschrieben. Here we can see some further examples, just to get a feel for the pattern. A habe at the second place, and a GE in front of the verb. For the more advanced, we might also want to focus on separable and non-separable verbs, verbs with the presyllable VER, for example, which do not get a GE. And yeah, that's basically all the magic for the perfect. So we can already start to speak in the past tense. The sentences you already know. In present, you might now try to put in the past tense. Ich habe gegessen, which is interestingly getting two G's. There are, as always, exceptions to the rules. But yeah, if you get familiar with them, they're not going to be a big problem. That was a quick overview on how the perfect works. If you have any further questions, let me know in the comments down below. Thanks for watching everybody, and I see you in one of my next videos.